Hey, how's it going? In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at green hydrogen, and let's try to understand what that is. Green hydrogen refers to hydrogen that is produced using renewable energy sources. So again, within definition, right? So if just because we recently have covered waste to energy, so if waste would be considered a renewable energy source or not. So since technically it can potentially be renewable, right? Well, either way, it's just one way how people would classify different areas, right, or production of energy. Since it's kind of you can consider ways to be a renewable source. Interesting, such as wind, solar, or hydropowers in a process called electrolysis. Electrolysis involves splitting water H2O into hydrogen H2 and oxygen O2 using electric current. So there's different ways how we can power different things. So hopefully, not so if we're using green hydrogen, right, as so we have full chain, right? As if we were to begin, we don't have currently perhaps necessary infrastructure. There are some places where we're building that infrastructure, but either way, if we were to agree to shift away from some of the businesses who were set up, taking a look at the history, to be powered using dinosaurs, right? If we were shift away from that, uh, from all the other products, right? What we currently are using to use more of the renewable sources, and how hard the shift can be. But again, we need to generate a lot of attention to those areas. If anything, try to understand a little bit better while doing that. Perhaps try to understand and do your own homework. If I'm talking with the people out there who are business owners, decision makers, hopefully they would understand or think for themselves and try to understand why that could be beneficial, as well as what would be potential obstacles in adopting any of those alternative sources of energy. Let's take a look at how process generally works. Start with the If we were to start with the renewable energy sources, ideally there are so many different ones, right? Electricity generated from renewable sources such as wind, solar, or hydropowers is used as a primary energy input for the electrolysis process. Electrolysis. Water is subject to electrolysis is an electrolyzer, which typically consists of two electrodes submerged in water. Then the electric current is applied. Water molecules are split into hydrogen and oxygen. Progressing to number three, hydrogen production. The hydrogen gas produced is collected for various applications such as energy storage, transportation, or industrial processes. The term green, so if anything, myself, I'm trying to bring more attention to the people who are there thinking that they are being vegans, if that makes sense. Whatever labeling or businesses, how they would package some of those projects. So be careful of that, if anything. So they could package all kind of things up there. How you making your decisions with your money, right? So whatever me and you would think is green, it's not. Again, it's not necessarily green. Again, so many things can happen there. Green is used to highlight the environmental friendly nature of its hydrogen production method, as it releases on clean renewable energy sources. This stands in contrast to gray or brown hydrogen. Again, yeah. It's getting too complex, but either way, which is produced from natural gas throughout the process called steam methane reforming, releasing carbon dioxide as a byproduct. Blue hydrogen is another variant where the carbon emissions from the traditional hydrogen production process are captured and stored. So they have their own qualifications when it comes to where the energy is coming from. So again, if someone looking to support, you need to understand the cause, and you need to understand, if anything, different classifications when it comes to some of those energy sources and how those energy sources have been used. If anything, try to understand. Even me right now, I'm not entirely covering everything in right depth, as well as some of the experts might be able to cover some of those areas a little bit better in an hour or perhaps 2 hours. But who has time for that sometimes? Green hydrogen is gaining attention as a potential solution to decarbonize sectors that are charging the electricity directly, such as heavy industry and long haul transportation. It is seen as a clean and sustainable energy carrier with the potential to play a significant role in the low carbon energy future. However, challenges such as the cost of production, which might be one of the major factors of that. When people are paying so much for electric vehicles, sometimes think about cost of production and why it's so expensive, right? So when they're paying 5, 10, 20 times more than it should, I don't know. What are those people actually paying for? If anything, try to understand that, as well as infrastructure development. So how once the company makes its money, right? How it's reinvest into infrastructure, and then getting a hold of some of those infrastructure projects. Either way, and scaling up production to meet demand still needs to be addressed for green hydrogen to become a mainstream and cost-effective solution. So there's a lot of options available. Green hydrogen just one option, alternative to perhaps other projects out there who are gaining a lot of traction, as well as some of those projects gaining a lot of attention and finance and opportunities there as well. I'd like to touch on the two areas, right? First one would be red diesel project, which potentially can offer a lot of finance. So for people out there who are interested in opportunities out there, if you yourself you would like to develop some of those projects, there's a finance available there, as well as I have recently covered electricity generation processes, right? So those two opportunities are there available right now for any business who are interested in developing some of those projects there. Let's touch on cars, right? Cars can be powered by hydrogen or green hydrogen. Hydrogen fuel cells vehicles are designed to use hydrogen gas as a fuel to generate electricity through chemical reactions in the fuel cells, which then powers electric motor to drive the vehicle. This vehicle emits only water vapor and heat as a byproduct, making them a clean and environmentally friendly transportation option. I have seen at least one of the companies within UK who are definitely considering this option. I think if they, as far as I know, they haven't disclosed it's something that they work on, but they definitely have know-how, facilities, or necessary reasons or to tackle some of those issues that it just perhaps if they're interested in doing that, that's a different question, but there are companies who can tackle this problem, right? Let's start or take a look at simplified overview of how hydrogen fuel cells vehicles can potentially work. There's going to be 5 points. First one, hydrogen fuel tank. The vehicle has a tank to store compressed hydrogen gas. I don't know about the weight and perhaps risk involved, so perhaps there's some other things to consider, as well as number two, fuel cell stacks. Hydrogen from the tank is fed into a fuel cell stack where it undergoes a chemical reaction with oxygen from the air. Number three, electricity generation. The chemical reaction is in the fuel cells produces electricity and releases water vapor as a byproduct. Number four, electric motor. where generated electricity is used to power electric motor, which drives the vehicle. And the last one, number five, zero emissions. So if that's a problem that we're looking to solve, I don't know how fast the vehicle is, how big it needs to be, all the other issues, right? But if we're only focusing on how we can solve this particular problem, that would be zero emissions. The only emissions from the vehicle is water vapor, making hydrogen fuel cells. Vehicles as zero emissions transportation option were powered by green hydrogen. So it's possible to do if that's a problem that we're looking to solve. I have published a course. It's a course designed to bring all the people up to fundamental level, what will be required for any professional to become more productive, effective when it comes to seeking opportunities, accomplishing those opportunities, and where to begin. Some of those areas where I'm looking to address different problems, that would be 12 different areas. I have packaged this project as 12 labors of Hercules. One of those areas would be having a budget, establishing a budget, how you should run the budget, starting with your personal budget, and from there you can progress into managing and running different budgets. That would be perhaps some of those areas that haven't been taught in school, depending on what kind of school you've been to. All those 12 areas is something that I had to learn for myself, as well as if you have any questions, if you would like to learn more, feel free to chat to me. We can have a chat first, and if you are happy, we can progress into this course. Or you can purchase this course, QR code in the corner or the website below. The advantage of using green hydrogen in fuel cell vehicles is that the hydrogen is produced using renewable energy sources, avoiding the carbon emissions associated with traditional hydrogen production methods. However, challenges such as the cost of fuel cells technology, the availability of hydrogen refueling infrastructure, and the overall cost competitiveness with other clean energy alternatives are a consideration for the widespread adoption of hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. So options are available out there. Perhaps there's a lot of obstacles there. Widespread adoption, what are alternatives, what will the cost involved. So there's a lot of issues there, but either way, so options are there. So and it has been up there for quite some time. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.